Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Look, man, Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence is off. Boom, period. Now, I don't know what can be done to rekindle this fight, but I'm telling you right now, with Terence Crawford seems to be just drawing the line in the sand and tired, man. Looks like Terence Crawford is not going to be moving forward, and neither is Errol Spence for the second fight. This whole thing about Errol Spence, him coming out talking about broken ribs, talking about his eyes, talking about the life he lived before going into the fight with Terence Crawford, talking about being dehydrated. I mean, there's one excuse after the other. And now it seems with Errol Spence, like he's not going to be ready to maybe fight till later this year, and he doesn't seem to be really interested in getting in that ring with Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford went out there and announced that he's done. He's like, yo, I'm done with Errol Spence, man. This whole thing about cataracts and got me in a holding pattern and inactivity. So Crawford's obviously just fed up. He says, I done heard it all now, Errol Spence. It's okay, though, because all in all, I'm glad it's over and done with. I wish you well, my brother. And that's what Crawford said. Now, again, when you talk about Errol Spence, right, it's hard not, I mean, you got to respect him. Errol Spence is a great fighter. But he's kind of hurt himself a bit with coming out now and talking about these things that a lot of people are just perceiving as excuses. When Errol Spence lost to Terence Crawford, everybody applauded him. He was lauded. He was champion. People, if they could have, they would have put him on their shoulders, took it to the stupid, paraded him around the goddamn town. Because all he said was basically the better man won. That's it. He didn't make excuses. And that is something in today's day and age with boxing you just don't see. However, he didn't hold his horses. And once he finished, stamping his passport up, and he got an opportunity to get back on Twitter, he took it to the stupid. Now, Spence blamed his poor performance against Crawford last July. He kept talking about these damn hooks and jabs and how he couldn't see, and there's a reason why he kept doing, Crawford was able to have so much offensive success. But ever since he did that, man, even I did a video. It's like, what is he talking about? And of course, you got the toxic Twitter fans, they started to rake him against the coals. Even his own diehard fans were like, okay, hold on a second, now he's taking it to the stupid. I'm starting to lose respect for him. But what I will tell you is, what I think everyone's seeing now, and I think Errol Spence is seeing now, is just that, hey, look, Crawford and Spence will never be a 50-50 fight. Never. Because Crawford is just better. And I think deep down Spence realizes that, but maybe he doesn't, because the things he's talking about, I'll tell you what, to me it sounds like Errol Spence is trying to process. He's still trying to process how he lost the fight. He's trying to figure out how it's like, this man cannot be better than me. So he's questioning the loss. And what he's doing, he's venting out loud, and he shouldn't have done that. He should have just sat there with old Derek James looking like Blank Man and just talk back and forth with him. What went wrong? What do you think? And Derek James should have just shot him straight. Look, he's better than you, but then Derek James can't say that because that makes Derek James look like an inadequate trainer. Because that says Bomac's better than Derek James. And Derek James ain't trying to hear that. But I'll tell you what, it's too bad a second bell won't ring, because there are a lot of questions still surrounding that fight where Spence was dehydrated, now with the stuff about these injuries. There are some people that's like, well, hold on a second. Spence just looked like a shell of himself. You know what I'm saying? They're like, well, let's see how he looks here in the rematch. Maybe the weight, no longer having the injuries, he's inactive, but not as inactive. Maybe this is just is the Spence that we grew to love. This is what we're going to see. But I'm telling you right now, I don't think it's going to happen. So for me, what exactly is Crawford going to do next? Because as far as big fights, now pay attention, people. Big fights have always evaded Terence Crawford. That man was supposed to get in the ring. He was trying to call out Keith Thurman, Danny Garcia. He was trying to fight everybody for years. Even on his own with his own promoter, they didn't give him Manny Pacquiao. So he finally got a big money fight in Errol Spence, and now he can't get another one. So really, his whole career, he's had big fights, big names, but only one big money fight. Don't get me wrong, he's making $5, $6, $7 million in some of his fights. But a big money fight is when you hit that 20 million plus mark. And he hit that with Errol Spence. But now he can't get the rematch? That's crazy. That's crazy. So you can't blame Crawford for just walking away. I think he's walking away from the sport of boxing. But you can't blame him. Who wants to sit around and go 6, 7, 8 months, 10 months and not fight? And then now when you got to come out here and you get a fight, you may get somebody who's been a bit more active than you, and just off a fluke, they beat you. Joseph Parker, Deontay Wilder. Terence Crawford ain't got time to be in Deontay Wilder's position. But I tell you what, just like there's that correlation between Crawford and Wilder in activity, and if Crawford goes and fights somebody active, maybe Crawford ends up, losing that fight. People will be in an uproar. Just like we can draw that similarity that could happen with Crawford. We can draw that similarity that Deontay Wilder fumbled a bag. We can draw that similarity with Deontay Wilder and Errol Spence. Because Errol Spence now is missing out on a big money opportunity. So it makes you wonder what's the mental of Errol Spence? What's going on with him psychologically? Because I'll tell you what, I didn't think Errol Spence had a chance, but there's a little small ounce there where it's like, let's just see what happens. You know what I'm saying? Just so we can check that box and say, okay, been there, done that, got the t-shirt. Now Spence knows he just can't beat Crawford. But Spence will never have that opportunity. Crawford will never get that chance to say, look, I told you so again. It seems to be that ship has just sailed away. So what's Crawford going to do? Is he going to stay at 147? He got to deal with Boots. Is he going to stay at 147? Hell, he may end up having Keith Thurman. He got all these guys at 147. No threats there, in my opinion, except for maybe Boots. At 154, you got Zoo. You got Jamel. You got some guys at 154 that could, make the fight interesting against Crawford. And then he's inactive. So this is what I was telling you. You coming off of being inactive and going fighting a guy like Tim Zoo? Are you crazy? So we'll see. I fully expect Crawford. I expect him to walk away from 147. Not from boxing yet, but just walk away from 147. Throw those belts to the side, and now those guys at 147 can scramble for him, and maybe do like Teofimo, announce a retirement, and then within 2 months, you find that he's in negotiation to fight somebody in Saudi. That's what I think is going to happen. Crawford breaking lock with that agreement with PBC, right? Because I'm pretty sure that deal can be set aside, especially if Errol Spence doesn't want to fight Terence Crawford or whatever the hell is going on there, right? Then Crawford may say, shit, well, before I sail off, let me try to get a big fight over there in the desert. Because he's a free agent, he can do that. But I don't know, man. I don't know. But you just never know. Maybe they still fight. Who knows? But it just doesn't seem that these guys are going to be fighting. But at the same time, they could be fooling us. It could be running game on us, man. This could be like Teofimo did, man, when they come and say they're retired and they don't. These guys this could be all built up to the rematch. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? But I'll tell you what, the stuff that Spence is talking about, if these doctors aren't in on the gamesmanship that's taking place, you could have where a referee gets in the ring, and I'm not trying to be funny, whoever's refereeing the Spence Crawford rematch, if it even happens, and see Spence get hit with some shots, and they could stop the fight prematurely because you got to think the whole world now is talking about Errol Spence, and the whole world was talking about how Errol Spence looked going into the first fight. Now the whole world's talking about that all these other things from the first fight and going on right now that could possibly affect him going into the second fight if it happens. So you got a referee that's like, this guy is, ever since he got in that horrible car accident, it's just been one thing after the next. We can't let him get in here and get tranquilized like he did the first time against Crawford. As soon as he gets beamed, they're stopping that shit. That being said, y'all keep cool. We'll see what the future holds. But it doesn't look good to me for us to be getting this Crawford and Spence rematch. And I would not be surprised if Crawford said, you know what? Y'all, I'm good. I got money. Got my wife. I got all these kids. They're all active. Got a beautiful family. 2-time undisputed. I'm cool. Because you know what? Deep down, people, you know what? Maybe I should save this for another video. Maybe Crawford got the silk pajama syndrome now. And maybe he's like, thank God Errol Spence came out with this shit. All these injuries and stuff, surgeries, because I really don't want to fight anymore anyway. But it make him look bad, not me. That could be what it is too, huh? In the breeze.